So today's Deer and Wildlife Stories is in the Hoosier state of Indiana. We'll be showing you 3 different deer farms with some giant bucks. And then later on in the program, you're invited to a party. The white-tailed deer is America's favorite big game animal, and white-tailed deer farming is the fastest growing segment in the agriculture industry. Our program's mission is to dive into the world of deer farming and inform you of how deer farmers all over the country are now using rapidly developing science-based research on their captive deer herds to solve the chronic wasting disease issue through selective breeding. Not only is this new science working, but it's obvious that captive deer breeding is the only way to help save America's deer herds from CWD, which will help improve overall herd health and at the same time can produce more quality trophy-sized animals for the general public. Join me as we discover how whitetail genetics, deer auctions, animal husbandry, and so much more drive the modern-day deer farming industry. My name is Keith Warren, and this is Deer and Wildlife Stories. All right, so deer farming in Indiana is a real big deal. This is Leon Miller, and we are at Pine Creek Deer Farm, about 3 miles outside of Napanee, Indiana. And they've been raising deer for decades. I mean,
40 plus years.
Yeah, I mean, for a long, long time. And it's owned by the Burkholders. Mm-hmm. And the Burkholders are Amish, and they just choose not to be on camera, but their deer can be on camera. And so take a look at these guys. It looks like most of them are 3.
Yes.
Now, immediately the take I get when we start comparing this to other, especially northern deer farms that we go to, you've got more typical frame deer here.
Yes.
And is that deliberate?
Pine Creek is known for raising the big typical deer.
Big, clean frame, typical deer, okay? And they'll have little kickers and some stickers on them, maybe a drop every now and then, but for the most part, when you take a look at these guys, they're absolutely beautiful. Now, there's some standouts in here. Tell me about that guy right there. Who is that?
That is 212.
We filmed him a couple of years ago. We were here, how old is he now, 5?
He's 5.
Okay,
He's 5.
Wow, what a deer.
Last year he was great. This year he's just even better, more mass, bigger.
But the big deal is you're also selling semen. And the semen, you can use the semen anywhere, okay? So if you're a deer farmer, you want to be a deer farmer, you want to grow deer like this, you want to grow typical deer, this is who you contact right here, Leon Miller. And because this is the product right here of breeding clean typicals. Okay, who's that right there?
Real World.
Tell me about Real World.
Real World is Blackjack on Dreammaker. And Dreammaker goes back to Dream Girl and Miss Patrick, which Miss Patrick has done very well for us. She's a super doe.
When you look at the Pine Creek deer and you go back historically, they go back to the Patrick line. The Patrick line is one of the most famous, popular, sought after lines in the entire deer industry. And they kept that line alive by breeding for 4 decades. And they have that Patrick line still in these deer. And so that's Real World. And the rest of these guys, where are they going? These stalkers?
These stalkers, and there's some guys that are calling and they're breeders.
They're not breeders at Pine Creek, but they'll be breeders someplace else, and you can see why. So the stalkers in here, what happens with these guys, the stalkers throughout the industry, as we call them, go to ranches that want to improve the genetic quality on their land. Okay, they need to have this genetic diversity brought in from really good genetics. So that's where stalkers go. But the cool thing about Pine Creek Deer Farm is they have their own piece of land that they let these guys go on. So that genetic line right there is not just here on the deer farm, but it's on their preserve as well. All right, so you got another pen of bucks we can look at?
Oh yeah.
All right, let's go. All right, so this is another pen of outstanding bucks. I mean, who are they?
The one is Mohican.
Oh, what a deer. Tell me about him. How old is he?
He's 5.
Okay. Was he born here?
Yep.
All these deer were born here,
Yep.
right? I mean, they don't bring deer in.
Nope.
Okay, that's a good thing about dealing with these guys here. They don't bring deer in. And the reason why that's good is because you don't have any trace out issues when you deal with Pine Creek. Okay,
nope.
So that's a good thing. Now, who's that other big deer right there?
That is Blue 979. He is.
Who's he go back to?
He gets Silver King on Sunset and then goes back.
Stop right there. Silver King. Silver King is the man. Okay.
Yes.
I mean, he's the man. So y'all are still using Silver King to breed?
Yes.
Okay, you still got Silver King semen?
Yes.
Okay, and Silver King semen for sale?
Yes.
Okay.
And he's an SS.
No, he's an SS?
Absolutely.
Okay, hear
Negative
that?
numbers.
Hear that? Okay, so Silver King is the man, okay? I mean, look at the way he throws, but he's an SS marker deer too.
Yes.
I mean, that's awesome. All right, so there's another deer that is on a sister farm of Pine Creek's. It's on, the sister farm is called Lone Pine. Tell them about Black Rifle.
Black Rifle is a...
He's a 4-year-old.
He's a 4-year-old. He is triple digit, which we were partnered on. And he goes back to Miss Patrick on the bottom. He's just, man, he's gorgeous.
And he's the man too. So, you know, you can see all the genetics here. I mean, they're going to produce great big frame typical deer. I mean, they're pretty deer. So if you want more information, get a hold of the folks over at Pine Creek. Deer and Wildlife Stories is brought to you by MVP Whitetails, Dr. Ray Favero's Whitetail Genetics, Rut Manufacturing, and Rafter P Construction. For more videos on deer farming, check out the Deer Farming channel on YouTube and make sure and follow us on Facebook. So Indiana is a great state for deer farming. And Russ, how long you been deer farming?
32 years.
32 years. This is Russ Beller, X-Factor Whitetails. And Russ Beller is a legend in the deer farming industry, not just in Indiana, but all over the country. And he has outproduced so many deer breeders with growing some big bucks with some great genetics. And on this farm, I mean, Russ, you really don't even sell any deer, do you?
No, I don't sell them.
He doesn't sell any deer. So you may think, well, why in the world is he doing this show? Well, he's doing this show because he's got a game preserve, okay? That decades ago, he started this game preserve, and it is unbelievable. It is beautiful. It's lush with trees and hardwoods and alfalfa fields, and it's gorgeous. And the genetics that you're seeing in this pen right here, I mean, look at these bucks. I mean, like, how old are these guys?
3-year-old.
Okay, and he's got deer like this in the game preserve, okay, that people come and hunt. The deer big, really big. I mean, I like that guy right there. He's got a big typical frame, and I love those big framey typicals, but it's hard not to like that guy right there. I like him too. He's got a lot of stuff going on. So how long did it take you to be able to start growing deer like this? I mean, as long as I've known you, you've had legendary deer.
Oh, I try every year to get a little better.
Well, you do get better. Okay. And Russ has got giant deer, okay? And I look forward to coming to Indiana every single year to coming out here and taking a look at his deer. Now, if we go to the preserve, you got, how many bucks you got in the preserve?
200 and some.
You get in that preserve is thick, okay? And when you go hunting, it's gonna be a hunt, okay? So when do you run hunts in there?
We start the 1st September.
Okay.
And we end all December. We go a little further, but everybody's tired by then.
Yeah, and the deal is that with 1st September, some of these bucks are going to be starting to come out and get hard horn.
Yes.
Okay, by the 3rd week of September, most of them going to be hard horn. Okay, so you're going to be able to hunt if you ever want to hunt a big white-tailed deer in the velvet, book early. But I mean, take a look at these guys. I don't know what they score. I mean, 400, 500. I don't know how much they score, and who cares when they look like this? I mean, these are all 3-year-olds.
All 3-year-old.
Oh my goodness. So, talk about nutrition and how important of a role it plays for growing deer like this.
My saying is about raising white-tailed deer, 3 things you gotta have. You gotta have genetics and stress. You gotta keep the stress, the flies, the mosquitoes, the gnats, and dogs or coyotes and all that off of them. So they ain't got no stress. And the 3rd is the feed. And all 3 of them is just as important as the 1st.
Yeah, so go ahead and tell everybody where they stay when the hunters come.
Well, we got a lodge here that'll sleep 20 people, 2 people to the room, and everybody's got their own private bath, and we got a chef that comes in and cooks for them. And you ate part a little bit of that today. I mean, I think you were surprised.
Yeah, they'll treat you right. When you come here, I mean, the lodge is spacious. It's got big mounts all over it, and it's got a light fixture over the big table. And these deer that are over there, just like these deer in this pen, they're the biggest of the big. And there's really what made X-Factor Whitetails X-Factor Whitetails.
That's true. X-Factor genetics.
And so when you take a look at these beautiful bucks here, the only reason why they exist is because of that man right there. And you can come hunt with him if you want to. If people want more information, do you have a website? Is it X-Factor?
Yeah, we got a website, X-Factor Whitetails.
Okay, and so they could go to the website, or what do they do? Give you a call?
Give me a call, yeah.
And tell them your telephone number.
765-776-1596.
And if you call that number, I'll bet you $100 bill he doesn't answer the phone. And the reason why I say, look at it, the reason why is because he never answers the phone because he's too busy working. But you leave a message and he's going to call you back every single time. He's on the bulldozer or he's doing something. He is fixing this place up for you. So if you want to come out here, I mean, call him, leave a message, he'll call you right back. I promise he will. But this guy right here, let me look at these bucks. It's crazy how big these bucks are. And the place is absolutely beautiful. So when Deer and Wildlife Stories returns, we're going to be down the road a bit and we're going to show you some more big deer. Deer and Wildlife Stories is brought to you by the Animal Kingdom Auction Barn and 5K Ranch, LE Fence Company, the Texas Deer Association, Rut Manufacturing, and New Dart. Deer and Wildlife Stories will be right back. Closed captioning is brought to you by Advanced Deer Genetics. So this is Amish country, and deer farming is such a wonderful thing for Amish people because you don't have to have a lot of fancy equipment in order to be a successful deer farmer. And speaking of successful deer farmer, there's probably not an Amishman in the country that's more successful at deer farming than Lester Eicher. And you may be wondering, why doesn't he appear on camera? Well, Amish don't want to be on the camera. It's for that reason that when we come, we always have somebody with us. This is Chris Ezell. He's actually from Oklahoma. And we've had him on the show many, many, many times, okay? And anybody in the deer industry knows Chris from auctions and from his knowledge of the deer industry, but he's here to tell us about the deer. There's gonna be so many big deer, you're not gonna believe it. So let's start with, who is that one?
That one right there is All In.
Well, All In, he is gonna be on the market to be sold at an auction tomorrow. Okay, and he is a lot better in person than he is in the pictures. When you look at him, I mean, think about this picnic coming up tomorrow. They're gonna have a big sale.
Yeah.
Okay, and deer farmers from all over the country are gonna be here, and Lester is actually auctioning off half interest in All In. And I've seen pictures of him. I mean, there's been a lot of people talk about him, and I know that he's gonna go for a lot of money. I have no idea what he's gonna go for, but you can see the reason why. What, he's a 2-year-old?
Yeah, he's unbelievable. Huge beams, big frame. Got a great pedigree.
He's a GS too.
He's a GS, genetic resistance. He's on one of the top farms in the country, so he's got everything going for him.
Again, his name is All In, and he was born and raised right here on this deer farm. So, okay, who is that buck right there?
That one's No Joke.
Okay, you gotta be related to the Joker.
Yeah, that's Major League over the Joker's womb sister. The Joker was one of the largest mainframe deer, if not the largest mainframe whitetail ever produced.
And so that's his 2-year-old son.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I just can't believe how gentle all the deer are out here. I guess it's because he spends so much time with them.
They put a lot of time, a lot of family, you know, the kids, the wives, the brothers, the sisters. There's a lot of people involved in this operation, and they put a lot of time in the pens.
And so when you wind up, when we go to the party that they're throwing here, you're gonna be able to see a lot of Amish, a lot of families, and deer farming is just good for the family. So, all right, who's that buck right there?
That one's the League.
Oh, okay.
He's a Major League son.
Yep, and look at that, he's got the drop starting on that one side.
Yeah, he didn't have that. He was a big typical in the years in the past. He's out of one of Lester's maternal lines that's produced really well and got a lot of breeders out of it. But he's been clean. He's just now starting to put some drops out there and some extras.
Who's this guy?
That's Anchorman.
Oh, okay, so Anchorman is 3.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's a deer right there that really, Lester is the luckiest guy there is.
He is, absolutely. They call me the leprechaun, but he gets my luck. There's no doubt about it.
Anchorman is an SS, okay? And that is huge in this industry right now, huge. And so Anchorman, he's 3 years old. When we were out here last year, he was a 2-year-old.
He's also got a negative breeding value as well.
Yeah, and so I'm getting there. So what happened, it's Lester doesn't want to keep the deer all to himself, so he's got partners, okay? So talk about the partners on it.
So he was actually sold, Lester sold choice buck off the farm before he grew out. And Black Hawk Whitetails bought that lot at the top 30. And then Anchorman become anchorman, and that was obviously the choice when he popped up. And Blackhawk became a partner, and then there were several other top guys that all wanted to partner, including me, and we all fought over who'd get a piece of it, and there's 5 or 6 guys that ended up with it, and they're the guys that are partners on him now.
And the reason for the smile, because that's a smoking deal. He's an SS, okay, a negative rating value, and just take a look at him. He's got a pedigree that won't quit either. So, yeah. But you can actually go on the North American Deer Registry, and you can see the pedigree on them. You can see all the information, all the background. You can see how many offspring are out of them. You're going to see more and more offspring as the years go by because of the breeding value and the fact that he's an SS as well. So who's this monster right here?
That's the Joker.
I would have guessed.
Yeah.
Look at him. I mean, he's not just the biggest, baddest dude on the planet. I mean, look at him. And so No Joke is his 2-year-old son.
Yep.
Okay, so talk about the Joker. I want to know, give me a pedigree and tell me how old he is now.
So the Joker, he's 4 years old this year. He's been big, every year. He was huge last year, just an unbelievable, one of the top in the world ever produced. He's a blackjack son, goes back to Lester's maternal line on the same bottom side as most of this stuff out here all goes back to. He's just a phenomenal deer.
So the Joker right there, last year he set a new world record. Get this, the main frame on that is 294 inches. So the ace, where is the ace in here?
He's right there.
I was gonna say, which big one? That's another big one right there. All right, tell me about the ace.
The ace, again, is out of Lester's breeding stock on the bottom side, comes out of the same maternal line as a lot of these breeders that we've been talking about. He's really super wide when blackjack up, Texas genetics, on the top. A lot of people didn't have very big, wide, massy, huge sons out of him. When the ace blew up, it was just, the bottom side of that really shows where he came from.
If you're a deer breeder, semen from every one of these bucks that we're showing you is available, okay? So there's one final buck that we want to show you, and what's his name?
Cash Reserve.
Okay, and is that him right there?
Yeah, he's, I think he's 6 now.
Yeah, okay, 6 years old, but give me a pedigree on that.
He's a FedEx on Free Agent's sister.
Wow.
Yep.
He is a horse of a deer. I mean, these deer, you look at him and you think, how could one man have accomplished this? It's pedigree.
It is. It all, if you look and go on Nadar, like you said, and go back and look through it, you'll notice that most of this all comes from just a handful of really super girls that he's built his program off through the years.
And those girls are available. So if you're interested in purchasing those, just get a hold of Lester. So I called for an Amish Uber to take me to the party. All right, girls, let's go. Come on.
Deer and Wildlife Stories is brought to you by Record Rack Deer and Elk Feeds, the North American Deer Registry, New Dart, Mossy Rock Ranch, and the North American Deer Farmers Association.
Now it's time for the LE Fence Minute.
Hey guys, it's Ron here with LE Fence. As you can see today, we're out here looking at some water gaps that we put in on a fence. You're gonna wanna put in a water gap just so that the water or debris that comes through your property doesn't beat up on the fence and knock your fence over, so that you can still stay secured during a storm or whatever event might happen. We've got 2 different styles here. One that's a little bit heftier and beefy. It's gonna be for your heavy flow areas, and we call that a frame and panel water gap. Then over here to the other side, we've got a cable and panel water gap style. That's gonna be for more of your gentle flow, and or just if you're gonna expect a little bit of grass and debris to come through your fence. Again, whether it's fencing needs, water gap needs, or any land improvements you can think of, we've got you covered here at LE Fence.
So my name is John Stoltzfus. I've been the president for IDEFA for about 5+ years. So what we're doing today is we're having our annual fundraiser. We have people coming from all over, from Michigan, Louisiana, Texas, Wisconsin, Illinois, Kentucky, usually between 400 and 500 people that show up at our fundraiser. Indiana is a very deer farming friendly state. We have a lot of support around us.
Love the IDEFA Picnic. I'm actually part of the board member here. So one of the greatest events that we have in the state.
We are here to support our Indiana deer farmers. We're from Missouri, and we just like to come and see what they've got up here.
Here in Indiana to meet new deer farmers, try to make new connections to bring back to Texas.
And we're here to buy a couple of deer and to bring them home and breed them because we need more babies.
It's important to be active in the deer farming community. It's a great network of people to get to know and bounce ideas off of when you have issues at your own farm. And good friendships are made all over the country.
Being a new beginner, all the people in the industry have given us a lot of good advice and been real kind to us. Keith's the one that really got us into this. Watching the channel, he gives us a lot of information and all that and how to do it.
This party is going wide open. It's real noisy inside and the auction's fixing to get started. But I got to tell you about one of the items that's fixing to come up. Earlier in the show, we showed you a buck by the name of All In. He's on Lester Eicher's farm. And All In is one of the top items in the auction. So let's go inside and see how it's going.
I got 57 pounds, $16,000. I got 57 pounds, 60 to the mountain, 60 pounds to the mountain, 62 pounds. I got $60,000, 62 pounds. I got 60 pounds, 62 pounds to the mountain, 60 pounds. Said no sold, $75,000. Give him a good round of applause.
The buck we showed you earlier today, All In, that magnificent 2-year-old, half interest sold for him in the auction for $77,500. So you tell me, is deer farming profitable or not? If you'd like more videos on deer farming, we'd like you to watch the Deer Farming channel on YouTube. My name is Keith Warren, and we'll catch you next time.
For more videos on deer farming, check out the Deer Farming channel on YouTube and Facebook.